Alright, hello, citizens of the Nigelverse. It is Nigel here once again, and this is going to be another match review. So, we're continuing Survivor Series matches, and today we are going to be looking at CM Punk versus John Cena versus Ryback at Survivor Series 2012. Now, you may be asking, Nigel, what's the significance of that match? And I'll answer for you. And the significance is that it is the debut, not quite the in-ring like wrestling debut, but the first time we've seen one of the most influential, one of the most popular factions in WWE history, and that is the Shield. Three men who would go on to absolutely rock the landscape of WWE as we knew it for years to come. And seeing them here tonight, and then seeing what they would become later on, where in this year, Seth Rollins just lost the United States Championship to Austin Theory. Roman Reigns is on the run of a lifetime, going through a bit of a career renaissance after years of being hated, going through a career renaissance with like the Bloodline and being champion on both Raw and SmackDown, holding both the Universal Championship and the WWE Championship, and then Dean Ambrose, aka Jon Moxley, killing it in AEW, just taking that vacation that he was supposed to take after losing the world title to MJF, losing the AEW World Championship to MJF, but being like the workhorse of AEW. But yeah, so three guys who would go to change the landscape, multiple time champions, several championships between them, including several world championships, and it all started technically in NXT and technically in FCW, but it all started here, like on the main roster for these three guys. But we also gotta look at the match itself, because I feel like that's important as well, at least in this context. So also, before I forget, of course, as always, I'm not professional wrestling reviewer or analyst, just a man who enjoys a good time. And for the most part, I had a pretty good time watching this match. So, for those of you who have seen these before, you kind of already know how these work. For those of you who are new here, pretty much I'm going to be talking about what I liked and what I disliked about the match. And and in the case of like here, I feel like the Shield's debut, for better and for worse, is going to have at least some impact on the match because it happened during the match itself. But let's get right into it. So, starting with what I like all three guys in here, for the most part at least. John Cena was still kind of Super Cena around this point. Ryback at this point was getting pushed. He was being, I remember in 2012, he was really being like set up big time for like a main event push. This is, and as commentary pointed out, this is the second match that he's had for the WWE Championship. He was set up for the push. Unfortunately, it never really worked out for him in terms of him being world champion, being like top star of the company, for a variety of reasons. Some on Ryback, some not really, in a way, and but it never really worked out for him too much, which kind of sucks because I feel like Ryback, and he got the comparison a lot to like Goldberg, or mainly because they're two big bald dudes who WWE, or yeah, in this case WWE, in Goldberg's case WCW, but pretty much two big bald dudes who wreck stuff and are pushed heavily. But even comparisons aside, that's the type of push they were giving him at this time, and honestly, that wouldn't have been too much of a bad thing. Ryback was definitely like a powerhouse and everything, being so. To see him pick stuff up and destroy it, well, that's pretty cool for the most part. And sadly, promos weren't necessarily his strong suit, but he seemed okay for the most part. He was pretty green at first, but would kind of get better as time went on. And then of course CM Punk, well, now infamous wrestling legend among a lot of people. Sadly, nowadays he's not very well liked, mostly because of what happened a couple months ago at All Out. He might be on his way out of AEW. He's been taken off the AEW video game cover, which I talked about on System Shock Radio episode 86. So if you haven't already, go check that out. But it might be on his way out. And this is before he leaves and everything, but at this point he is in his over year-long reign as WWE champion, and they actually brought up on commentary how the next night, which would be a Monday, he would pass the 365-day threshold, which he would end up doing because he retained here, and definitely outspoken, definitely extremely talented, always been, and for the most part, a really big fan of CM Punk. Some of his actions over the years, some people not really taking a liking to, and a lot of people I feel like have kind of turned on him nowadays, but still, CM Punk is CM Punk for the most part. But all three of them colliding here in this match definitely put on a pretty decent match. It's similar to what we've seen, and what's funny enough, in the Survivor Series season where I'm reviewing Survivor Series matches, this is the second triple threat match involving John Cena, but similar to his match with Triple H and Shawn Michaels, John Cena, CM Punk, and Ryback. Don't really do I don't think there was any triple threat spots in this match. There was a lot of one-on-one segments. Actually, there were a couple, such as John Cena and CM Punk double suplexing Ryback, or CM Punk breaking up a pin. But yeah, so some pretty decent action from all three guys, and of course the big significance: the Shield running in, attacking Ryback, taking him out. And CM Punk, because at this point before they took him out, Ryback hit the shell shock on John Cena. Even Ryback's finisher was kind of cool, the shell shock where he lifted the guy and then just dropped him back hard. I think that was pretty cool. And I guess this is before CM Punk didn't want to work with Ryback anymore. CM Punk said Ryback was dumb. His words, not mine. But yeah, so this is probably before he didn't want to work with Ryback anymore. And I know apparently Ryback injured him really badly. If not in this match, then a different one. But yeah, so CM Punk and Ryback, sadly not the best relationship, but nevertheless, Ryback hitting the shell shock on John Cena, and then the Shield rush in. And I also like how they're put over on commentary, where they're talking about how there's vicious, this beatdown, and then Michael Cole recognizes them. He says, as there's Roman Reigns, and then Dean Ambrose, and then Seth Rollins, all from NXT, and it's a mystery. A lot of people are a mystery surrounding it, what are these guys doing here? And sadly, unlike a lot of the NXT call-ups that we would see in later years, the Shield not really that big a pop. This was before NXT became what it is today, or at the very least black and gold, where when a call-up happens, it's a big deal, such as when Bobby Roode or Shinsuke Nakamura or Samoa Joe all showed up from NXT as former NXT talent. This is back when NXT was barely a blimp on the radar. They were just transitioning out of that game show phase into the third brand phase that Triple H would mold into, which would become the legendary black and gold NXT over time. I mean, fun fact as well, Seth Rollins was the first ever NXT champion. And so that's a neat bit of trivia there, but the Shield, so because of that, the Shield not really well known. Nobody really knows who they are. So now that could be seen as a detriment, but it could also be seen as an interesting way to build these people up, because now you can decide the direction of where you want these guys to go, and these guys were tweaked to become a faction and everything from here, and And WWE had the freedom to do that because people didn't really know who they were. Now, apparently, the Shield was CM Punk's idea in real life, not in like storyline. I'll address like what happened with CM Punk and the Shield in storyline, at least briefly as the review goes on. But in real life, CM Punk came up with the idea of the Shield, pretty much a gang of mercenaries. But the lineup was very different. So the original lineup was supposed to be Dean Ambrose, Seth Rollins, and Chris Hero, aka Cassius Ohno in WWE. And, well, that would have been a really, really good lineup. It was actually Triple H who said, no Chris Hero, we're going to swap in this guy, Roman Reigns. Now, in hindsight, Roman would end up being arguably the biggest star out of the three, but I also think it's somewhat worked because Chris Hero is very strong, but is more so known for like agility and strikes and stuff. Now, striking and like brawling and stuff is already kind of Dean Ambrose's thing, and agility is really also Seth Rollins' thing. But I feel like to balance it out, I feel like a muscle guy might have been necessary, and Roman Reigns was like the perfect like muscle guy for the Shield, where he was big, he was dominant, he was still really really agile, and still really is nowadays. But he was the muscle guy of the Shield. He was the power. He was the heavy lifter and everything. I feel like that kind of balanced things out a little bit more. Or, like I said, no offense, no disrespect to Chris Hero / Cassius Ohno, however you refer to him, but I feel like in hindsight it might have worked out a little bit better with Roman Reigns as being the third man, the muscle of the Shield. Well, I feel like that worked out really well, but again, maybe that's just me. Let me know in the comments what you guys think. And so Shield rush in, take out Ryback, and CM Punk crawls over to John Cena, who was hit with the shell shock, mind you, and gets the win. So Cena was down for a while. That means theoretically, at least in kayfabe, in real life, obviously the Shield taking out Ryback was planned so that CM Punk could retain. But in kayfabe, that means if Ryback would have pinned John Cena right then and there, Ryback probably would have won the match, which is insane to think about. Like, Super Cena was essentially going to go down after that shell shock, and I think that was the only shell shock John Cena had taken in the entire match, which is interesting. But so there's that. The Shield make their presence known, and then we find out later on that the Shield at first denied that they're working with CM Punk, and that's where we get that infamous funny moment of Dean Ambrose when Michael Cole said, "Are you working for CM Punk?" and Dean Ambrose was like, "Nope." And like, you've probably seen that GIF like a bunch of times in like the wrestling community and everything. I mean, more so back in the day, but not really as much nowadays. But so there's that, and then it turns out, they were working for CM Punk, and then CM Punk turns face and then kind of feuds with the Shield. One of the first to actually like pin them, and it like became more and more dominant. But yep, it all started here for the Shield. So, this historical significance. I'm sorry, I know I went on quite a bit of a tangent there, but the historical significance is something to keep in mind. But the match itself was actually also pretty decent as well. In terms of what I didn't like, I do wish there were a few more. I wish there were a few more triple threat spots to see what these guys could do, like working together. Like I said, there was a triple threat spot, but that was about it. And let's also talk about the Shield and those turtlenecks. Never before, never again. The Shield showed up in turtlenecks and looked like a walkie-talkie on their side, and then the cargo pants and everything. And so, kind of a weird / funny look. And then from there, they would ditch the turtlenecks and then move over to more like what we saw the Shield in later on, like the SWAT gear, like the vests and everything. But those turtlenecks, it was going to be a lot worse, because originally they were supposed to come out with helmets and riot shields, or maybe it was I think it was. They were supposed to be nightsticks as well. It was supposed to be like full riot shields gimmick, like full cop gimmick, riot cop gimmick, which would have been really, really goofy and really, really hokey. But But the turtleneck stayed, so what are you gonna do? But that is gonna do it for this review, and that is the debut of the Shield. Like I said, one of the biggest, most popular teams in WWE, both as a unit and as individuals. Now, sadly, they didn't stay as a unit for too long. It was about a year, or a little over a year, or maybe a year and a half before they split and everything. But when they went solo is really where they shined. Not really in Roman Reigns' case, but at least not until he became heel and became like the tribal chief and everything. But yeah, so this is where it all started. So if you want to see how it all started, check this match out. It's a triple threat at Survivor Series 2012. But nevertheless, thank you all so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, please do me a favor, like, comment, subscribe, share it with your friends, turn on post notifications so you know every time I upload a video so you can see it as soon as it drops. Let me know in the comments below your thoughts on this match and my review of it, and do you like the Shield, do you dislike the Shield? Let me know in the comments below. But thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you guys later. Peace.